It was our 5th anniversary, and Sarah insisted we celebrate at Costello's, a lavish Italian restaurant that came with a jaw-dropping price tag. I had hoped for something more meaningful, like the cozy pizza place where we had our first date, but she shut that idea down without a second thought. When we arrived, Sarah was in high spirits, mostly because I had just secured a lucrative business contract. After dinner, I went to pay the bill at the front desk, a habit I picked up after a past incident with a schemed credit card. On my way back, I passed behind a partition separating the dining area. Sarah was sitting there with her Aunt Lisa, laughing over drinks. That's when I heard it. "Does Jake still think you love him?" Lisa asked, her words slightly slurred. I froze. Sarah answered without hesitation, a smirk in her voice. "Of course. His credit is excellent, and he pays for everything. Why would I leave?" They both burst out laughing. Lisa added something else I couldn't make out, but Sarah's reply was crystal clear. "Well, Mom and Dad were right about one thing. Marrying a tradesman means he's always too busy to notice what I'm doing." I stood there, silent. Not in shock, but in realization. Like every nagging suspicion I'd buried over the years had suddenly snapped into focus. I returned to the table, sat down, and calmly finished my drink. Sarah continued chatting about her day, completely unaware I had just heard her betray me. Back home, she noticed I was quieter than usual but didn't press me. I told her I was tired, big project starting tomorrow. She nodded, uninterested the moment she knew it wasn't about her. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I made a plan. The next morning, I contacted my bank and credit card companies, removing Sarah as an authorized user and reporting suspected fraudulent activity. By noon, I had called my lawyer, my accountant, and my business partner. That evening, I moved half our joint savings into a separate account and froze the rest. Sarah didn't notice a thing. She carried on like normal, pilots, lunch with friends, shopping, while I kissed her goodbye and went to work like always. Pretending was surprisingly easy. 2 days later, she tried to pay for a spa day using my Amex. It was declined. She tried another. Same result. Frustrated, she called me, her voice tight with carefully restrained anger. "There's something wrong with the cards," she said. That's strange," I replied, sounding concerned. "I paid all the bills last week." "What were you trying to buy?" "Just lunch," she lied. A $900 spot charge had just pinged my phone. "I'm in meetings all day, but I'll check with the bank tonight," I said. She hesitated, knowing she only had a low-limit personal card left. "No real income? No safety net?" "Fine," she snapped, and hung up. 3 hours later, my phone was lighting up with her texts, 27 missed calls, followed by a voicemail from my lawyer confirming the divorce papers had been filed. When I got home, I expected fireworks. Accusations. Screaming. But the house was empty. A quick check of the doorbell camera showed she had left 2 hours earlier with 3 suitcases, heading to her parents' house. The next morning, Lisa called. I almost didn't answer. "What did you do?" she demanded. "What did Sarah tell you?" "She said you lost your mind, froze the accounts, cut up her cards. Some kind of male midlife crisis. Typical." Lisa always took Sarah's side. "Did she mention our anniversary dinner? Your little heart-to-heart at the table?" I asked, my voice cold. Silence. Then a shaky breath. "You heard that?" "Every word. We were just talking. Women say things sometimes, it doesn't mean." "Sov it," I cut her off. "The divorce is already in motion. If Sarah needs anything, she can contact my lawyer." "You're making a mistake," Lisa insisted, but the fight had drained from her voice. "Sarah loves you. She's just complicated." "No," I said. "She's actually very simple, once you understand what motivates her. Tell her thanks for the clarity." Then I hung up and blocked them both. It played out exactly as I expected. Her father called my business partner, threatening to ruin us unless I made things right. A letter arrived from a notoriously aggressive divorce attorney demanding immediate restoration of Mrs. Harrison's lifestyle. Sarah even sent a mutual friend to appeal to my emotions. But I was prepared. My lawyer responded with a detailed breakdown of Sarah's spending habits, her lack of contribution to both our household and my business, and records of secret transfers to her personal accounts. Suddenly, the tone changed. Her lawyer requested a formal meeting. When I saw Sarah again, she looked flawless. But her eyes, cold. Calculating. "This is unnecessary," she said, avoiding my gaze. "We can fix this without lawyers." "I prefer witnesses at our conversations now," I replied calmly. Her lawyer spoke next. "My client is willing to consider a fair settlement acknowledging her contributions to your success." My lawyer, Patricia, slid a folder across the table. "My client has outlined what he considers fair, given the short duration of the marriage and documented financial impropriety. We believe it's more than generous." Sarah grabbed the paper. Her expression shifted from confusion to outrage. "This is insulting," she hissed. 5 years of my life, and you offer me less than I had before we met? That's because before we met, you at least had a job," I said quietly. "And some dignity from working for what you had. Consider this a chance to find that version of yourself again." She snapped, "Your business would be nothing without my connections." "Actually," I said, "less than 8% of our clients came through your network, and those had the lowest retention rate. But thanks for the concern." Her lawyer whispered something to her. She shook her head, furious. "We'll need time to consider this offer," he said. "Of course," Patricia replied. "But do know, we've documented Mrs. Harrison's weekend spending. Interesting charges, considering she claimed to be visiting family." Sarah's head jerked up. "What does that mean?" I hadn't told my lawyer everything. She was just smart enough to connect the dots: charges, social media posts, a familiar male friend. "It means fighting this will be more expensive. And far more public," I said. "Your call." As I gathered my things, Sarah spat one final insult. "You'd be nowhere without the Brightons. Or the Winstons. You think you built all this alone?" I turned to face her. "You know what's funny? I used to give you credit for believing in me. Now I see it clearly. You just saw me as a stock to invest in. Your mistake was selling too early." 3 weeks later, Sarah signed the settlement. She walked away with less than 15% of our assets. Still enough to live comfortably if she was smart. I kept the house, the business, and my peace of mind. The day after it was finalized, Lisa texted me from a new number. "You were smarter than the others." She miscalculated. I didn't ask what she meant by others. I just replied, "No, her biggest mistake was thinking money was all I cared about." It's been 2 months now. Business is thriving. Clients prefer working directly with me. No pretenses. No games. I hear Sarah's living in her parents' guest house, telling anyone who'll listen that I had a breakdown and ruined a perfect marriage. Maybe, in her mind, it was perfect. She got the lifestyle she wanted, all it cost was pretending to love someone. But here's what Sarah never understood. I didn't build my business by being naive or sentimental. I built it by noticing patterns, reading the fine print, knowing when to cut my losses. And I applied those same principles to my marriage. I just wish I'd done it sooner. Last week, I donated all of Sarah's remaining things to a women's shelter. One of the volunteers asked if I'd consider joining their fundraising committee. They're renovating. Could use help. We're getting coffee next week to talk more. Nothing fancy. Just 2 people discussing something that actually matters. For the first time in years, I'm looking forward to a conversation that has nothing to do with money, status, or appearances. Turns out, clarity was the most expensive thing I've ever paid for. And worth every penny.